Hello there, I'm Harry Lee from Perchpeek and welcome to our LinkedIn Live show of hybrid strategy relocate versus remote. I'm just delighted to be joined by Andrew Stetsenko, CEO and founder of Relocate.me. He's a tech entrepreneur, absolutely amazing guy. Andrew, so good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Harry. Thanks for having me.
So Andrew, once again, he's an amazing guy, extremely smart. So please do share any questions you have. Please do. I really want us to challenge him on this call. So really throw anything you can at him when it comes to talent and tech. But yeah, firstly, amazing response since I put this event out. So yeah, really excited. I was blown away by some of the messages I was getting. So without further ado, there has been endless conversation right now around people working remotely, and it's been argued that since people have been allowed to work from home with that ability, it's going to really decrease the demand for expatriated jobs. Now, according to the Economist article titled "Who Needs Expats?", there are some 280 million people living in a country other than their own, often because of their job. Now, the article questions, as Zoom and remote working have become the norm, is shuffling emissaries around the world even worth it anymore? And yet, Hillary Hofauer, Business Insider, said that actually, whereas people are arguing that it's going to mean the death of big cities such as New York, San Francisco, London, they're going to stop getting all their expats coming to these major hubs. She's actually said that these cities are actually getting even bigger. Now, the reason for this is very simply the hybrid model, and it's been embraced by key players such as Revolut, Ocado's, Amazon's. This probably sounds quite familiar to a lot of listeners, where a few days are required in the office each week, and potentially a few weeks maybe taken each year in a different country, depending on your company's level of risk aversion. Now, these models require employees to be within a certain range of the office naturally, but as you can see from what's happened in the UK and the US housing market, people are moving away from the city centres and are going to those quieter areas surrounding those hubs, which in essence is broadening the size of those cities. Now, there are two major sides to the world of relocation, where one is about major corporations sending what they call ambassadors around the world to foreign countries to manage relationships and workforces abroad. Now, the other side is about bringing in talent from perhaps less developed countries or higher skill, lower job countries, or ones perhaps where there's fewer opportunities, and bringing those people to major markets to take advantage of the more advantageous talent job market with those stronger talent pools. Now, that second part is of relocation is the one that Andrew, the founder of Relocate.me, is supporting in terms of European employment service. And today I'm really going to be discussing with him the advantages of going after that talent market, finding the talent, discussing when relocate or remote working is the best plan of action for that talent, and then the mechanics of bringing it to your own country of work. So, hell of a mouthful. So Andrew, thanks again for joining us. Would you mind quickly introducing yourself and introducing Relocate.me?
Yeah, thanks again for having me, and thank you for all the listeners who are with us this great day. So my name is Andrew. I'm the founder of Relocate.me. Like in a nutshell, Relocate.me is a job relocation platform for tech professionals. So we've been doing I've been in this business probably for almost 10 years. Started as a tech recruiter and then turned to be entrepreneur. So I'm not the biggest expert in what's the general global mobility looks like, but I know for sure something about the tech, so IT relocation market.
Awesome, thanks, Andrew. So, in terms of that market, straight into it, how have you seen it really change over the last 18 months when it comes to relocation versus remote working from home and versus moving expats and such?
Yeah, I would say that there was really huge bet for the everybody and every company will go working remotely, and then the pandemic started. It seems like the process accelerated a lot. So we saw the big trend that companies like Spotify, etc., they allow their employers to work remotely from every part of the world. And I would definitely say that we struggle a lot as a business because we probably lost 70% of our clients when the pandemic started. So obviously, like the first thing that the companies realized in this case, so they rely a lot in terms of the relocation for the work of the governments. And right now we see that different countries react completely different to the pandemic, and as well as it results in different way how their, for example, embassies in different countries working, and then how the process of getting a work visa gets right now. So for example, if you look at Sweden, probably like as a country, you don't see any difference between how they hire people internationally before the pandemic and right now. So they say we don't have the pandemic, so they still open, they have open borders, the embassies working on the same way. But if you look, for example, in countries like Australia, Singapore, even Japan, you'll see that like they're pretty locked in terms of like the foreign talent. So you can't get the work visa. So the first that employers realized that they really relied on this on the government side, and once Sweden or any other more open countries benefit from their policy, other countries like Australia or Singapore, they really struggle to get international talent. The second thing that significantly changed, like the way how you interview international talent. So before, based on our data, probably every second final interview was on site. So you literally invite person to visit your office, to hang out like for a beer, to visit a new country. So that was like typical process for a lot of companies.
Yeah.
At the moment, all the interviewing process went fully remote. So no one will invite the person for the final interview at the moment, and that's also acceptable from the candidate side, because before a lot of candidates also wanted to visit the country where they potentially want to relocate. So they want, before doing this serious step, they want to actually test the ground, like, well, what's to be in this country. So right now, kind of by default, all the final interviews, like the majority of final interviews, are remote. So that's kind of the new reality. So you will choose a new country, probably not visiting this country, and you will relocate to this country, not physically visiting this country. So that's how it will work at the moment.
Yeah, cool.
And still, it's funny, but if you ask the probably the third, like, not trend, but something that changed, like still, like if you even relocate people to your city, to your location, most likely these tech people will be working remotely somehow. They'll be working from home somehow. So it seems like the relocation is not like about the way of how the companies work. It's just the way how you can get talent closer to your side. But anyway, everybody will be working from home, for example, in some specific cases when the pandemic hits the maximum, for example. So and as you're right, probably the hybrid model of like relocation remote, right now we see it like it's really the huge intersection between like relocation and remote work. That's true.
Yeah, that brings me straight on to kind of my next question, which is, in this market where people have all moved to remote, people are looking at talent in, for example, in India, and they're bringing people over, but especially in, say, a tech market, a lot of people are, even if they come over, they're often still working remotely. So now, given where we are 18 months into COVID, is it already 18 months now, what is the place for this relocation model now? Where do we see the future of it? Is there a place in a remote first world?
Actually, I don't think so. I still believe like it's in terms of like the music. You, for example, like rock. I love rap, for example, and then we are both good people, so we are not kind of controversial to each other. So we both like we have own choices. So there is no one single direction, for everybody will be working remotely or etc. Based on our data, we see that still a lot of techies want to relocate, and even though they'll be working remotely, so I would say you offering to your employees who will be relocating, you offer them the better view from their window, because they'll still be working from home or remotely. So that's the one point. The second point, still a lot of companies prefer to build internal culture, to build all these strategies and share them with their employees in one place. So I saw a lot of polls from employees, I would say the majority of them prefer the hybrid working model. So they prefer to stay 4 days at home, but one day visit office. And the same I see like from the employers. So they also ready to offer this flexible working environment. That means like you still need to visit you meet your people in one place in your office. So yeah, I really don't think so that like remote work will fully change the relocation world. Moreover, remote, in my opinion, means that you shouldn't have only a remote team in tech. You should have a remote mindset for all of the organization. And it is extremely hard, to build the remote company from all angles, from all hierarchy, from all levels, from all departments. So still, I guess, yeah, both directions will exist.
Gotcha, absolutely. Have you got any sort of examples of where you really would recommend people go towards a more remote, or where you'd say absolutely, you definitely need to be more from a hybrid model, where you'd distinguish between the two for a specific industry or a specific type of company?
I would say the hybrid model gives a lot of benefits for both. For example, let's look at the Japan as a market. We actually have a lot of number of clients from Japan at the moment, so they really struggle with tech talent. So as the Japan is pretty locked as a country, so you even having a work visa, if it's kind of the high season of the pandemic, you can't visit Japan even if you have the work visa. So you actually forced to start working remotely, and it means like when you got an employer from abroad, you don't need to wait once this person visits your office, so you can start working remotely straight away. So you kind of the onboarding time is super fast. Then for the person, it's also kind of testing the ground. What's the company? How to work with this company remotely? And then, for example, after 6 months, once everything is good, the green light for opening borders, then you actually can land with your family. So it means like the hybrid model actually is super beneficial for both, for the employers and for the tech workers as well. So
Nice.
I would say, like in the example of Japan, like you're forced to use this model, and we see the results that like both employers and employees are happy with this.
That's actually a really good question now from Stephanie, Alex. So, what are some strategies that you have seen implemented to keep remote employees engaged and build that company culture in a virtual or a remote environment?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you, Stephanie, for it. There is no like silver bullet, I guess, for this, but I would say, as I said, like you need to build the remote mindset for for all people and even for all processes in our company. I guess everything starts from the proper onboarding. If you onboard people that will be working remotely, probably you should have more guides, you should have more wiki, you should more documentation on how to work with this company, because you can't physically meet the person and shake hand and then just to discuss some topics. And then you also need to understand like what probably motivates on the high level to work people remotely, and then give them these opportunities, give them freedom, and then take into account that they should be responsible, but also they have a lot of freedom, so they might probably do some homework, etc. So I would say, yeah, this could be kind of the strategy for all the company to understand what motivates people, and then on the employer side is just to build all the processes and all the strategies in the remote way.
Definitely, I would actually add to that, Stephanie, from our experience of working with some of the some of the companies that have really excelled when it comes to keeping remote employees engaged. Bringing in a very dedicated resource. So along the lines, I know that Twitter are currently hiring or already have hired a sort of remote leader. Someone like Impala, they've got a remote benefits and engagement leader, and they've really looked at the benefits and rewards that they've brought to their employees. For example, they can work from, they really can choose from wherever they want to work. They get a very sort of bespoke set of employee team days. Team hackathons is something that the guys at Learnably do to keep the team engaged. Team retreats, so still allowing those collaboration days. Real cross team exercises are a massive part of that. And then, and most importantly, from a conversation I had with the Learnably guys recently, was about just feedback every sort of week. You've got to be so explicit with your culture and really ingrain into that culture a level of feedback as well. So you're finding out how do you need to change, because obviously no company is the same and no set of employees is the same. So yeah, as Andrew said, really adapting according to their needs is a massive part of that. So thanks so much for that question. Following on from that, so Andrew, could you go further into the sort of advantages of going for that foreign talent rather than working with the local talent pool?
Yeah, that's a good one. I would say first of all, that you definitely increase the boundaries of talent. That's just, I guess, the initial thing that why you're going to relocate people to your locations, that you're locked to local talent, and they probably are more picky in the way how they choose the next employer. For example, if it's like really a long commit from work, they might not consider you or any other luxury problems why they not join your company. On the other hand, it also gives you much more diverse talent. So people will come from different backgrounds, from different education, from different life conditions. It also gives you a lot of benefits. The third part is that you can also, if you're an international company, you expand a lot. It's really great to have an international team on board, because any of the team members can share something about the specific market, and then they can be your kind of ambassadors. I know a lot of stories like when based on the number of people they have, they open the businesses and business subsidiaries in these new countries. So it also gives you a spirit of international company and understanding of the local markets. And also, like, on the perspective of the employees, usually when you move abroad, it's a pretty serious step in your life. And then naturally, not for probably everyone, I don't want to generalize, but probably as an employee, you want to give your best because you move to a new country. And then for you, it's like you want to present your best in a new environment. So for me, it's something like from scratch. You change one country to another. So I guess your first job should be really successful. You want to give your best and show your best experience that you earned before. So that's also kind of really good point to have really motivated people, and also for the people to show their ambition in a new country. Yeah, I guess that's really crucial.
Awesome. Yeah, I hadn't considered too much that level of additional motivation, because it's obviously such a massive growth opportunity for people going abroad as well. They're really going to sort of go 100% or 110% because they're there and they've got this big moment, so they really want to embrace that for sure. Straight on to sort of leads really well into the next question, which is kind of where do you see are the best sources at the moment of perhaps untapped talent that people aren't, that companies, for example, in Europe or Western Europe or USA aren't necessarily going after at the moment or haven't made the most of yet?
Yeah, it's really hard to say about, like, here's one country where it's like really great talent that nobody is trying to headhunt. I would say it really depends on the country. So for some reason, we see the really interesting trends where, for example, one country's super attractive from people from one part of the world, and then another countries are, for example, attractive for another type of people. So definitely you need to understand what's the people who are interested to move to your location, and just curious, like, what was the reason. Probably was kind of historical background of this, or there was huge number of expats of this type of people in this country.
Have you got any examples of those sort of one-way streets where it's very much a specific desirable end destination for a specific sort of?
Yeah, I guess probably language-wise, for example, we see a lot. Like, for example, for Spain, for example, you see the demand from the candidates from South of America. Yeah, so they speak like the same language. Moreover, they might have even like the Spanish passports. The same goal with like Portugal and, for example, Brazil, as well as yeah, different things. And yes, and language could be also like the reason. If pretty the same language, for example, like Slavic language, for example, we see that like Czech Republic might be interesting as a country to the people from the Eastern Europe, because the roots of the language are pretty the same. Also based on your environment, is if you have like a lot of people who move to one country, it might be easier for you to ask them questions, to understand what's to live in this country. And in terms of like where to start the talent, I would say the biggest thing that you need to understand, you should be really unbiased in terms of like where you want to hire the talent, because right now the talent are really everywhere. So you shouldn't like be picky and say, okay, like these guys from this country are not good fit for us because like culture wise. That's not true. Absolutely not true. Because like you can't judge, by having like 2 interviews from candidates
Yeah.
from this country. Just you shouldn't have the whole picture like, okay, we don't hire people from this specific country because we had really bad experience with 2 candidates from this country before. And definitely you should understand, like if you go to the some country where they should have some serious reason for the relocation, and it's obvious that these people from this country want to move to another, I guess then it's like the same like fishing in the same pond. Like then all the countries immediately will attack this in a good way, this country, and try to source candidates. So definitely just be unbiased, look at the countries where people motivated, interested to move, kind of having international mindset, and that's the biggest I guess thing. And then I saw much more successful companies that have no boundaries and no any limits from the countries where they hire, versus companies where they have strong preferences from some specific locations when they want to hire people. And it actually goes the same story with European Union. Obviously, and I can understand this movement when the companies from European Union naturally want to hire people within the European Union, because just work visa wise, it's super easy,
Sure.
right? But when you hire technical talent, all these obvious things, I guess, don't work. Hiring technical talent is not easy. And then when you try to find the easiest way to hire technical talent, all of them don't work for sure. So
Sure.
that's why, like, if, for example, you're based in European Union, yeah, definitely you should try to get European Union citizens first because it's easier. But based on data, based on results, based on like 7 years of experience in this field, if you want really exceptional talent, please just expand the boundaries of the locations where you want to hire the tech talent, especially the tech talent.
Brilliant. Okay, no, very interesting. To always maybe the easiest route is not the best one to go down for the best people. That's because obviously it's the most well trodden path, I guess.
I see the really interesting question from Brand actually.
Yeah, actually, it follows on really nicely from what I'm about to ask you, which is okay. So we see a lot of, especially relocate a lot of people to Western Europe and the USA from the likes of Eastern Europe, from India and such, and there are a significant number of costs involved. Given that you can get a lot of those benefits from just keeping these teams remote over there, is it really what are the costs involved in bringing them over, and is it how does that trade-off sort of match up in terms of giving you an ROI of actually having those people in your home location?
Yeah, for example, I can't say about the whole market. I can say only about the Relocate me as a platform, because what we do actually, we advertise not only like the job description of the employers, we also advertise the relocation package. So where we want to be transparent, like in a way, like what employers are offering to their future candidates, their future employees, and then they can share, okay, you'll have this type of relocation package beforehand. You know it beforehand. You apply for a company. You know what type of support you'll be offered. And we had big analytics, and we saw that like that as more advanced and as more comprehensive relocation package you have, then you have naturally more applicants. So the candidates want to apply for the companies, especially if it's overseas or it's really long distance relocation. With the companies, they can support them. And based also like on my experience, it's also not about just the money support. Just it's not about like giving them some sign up bonus and say, okay, please come to our country. It's more about really human level support, just really like this type of empathy, because you see the people come from other country, they don't know how to do anything, how to find an apartment, for example, in London, in Berlin, in New York. It's not so easy even for the local people.
Yes.
And then what's saying about the people who will never visit this place? So yeah, my strong opinion is that relocation package is it's really matters. So it matters. And this really good question, who should pay? Yeah, and I saw different like scenarios, like probably the majority of employers, they will fully support and they fully cover the relocation package. And that's kind of, they consider this as a part of their kind of perks. So you offer this, you're usually offered salary, bonuses, stock options, etc., free coffee, table tennis. Why you shouldn't consider relocation package as a part of this perk? So why it should be different? So why you offer all of this number of perks, but why you can't offer the relocation support as a kind of this bonus to your future employees? Some of these companies, they, for example, when they offer really big relocation package, they make some statements in the contract. For example, if you leave earlier than some period of time, you have to reimburse some, for example, because it could be a huge investment from the company side, so they should reimburse some part of this package. For example, if you leave earlier than like 6 months, so then you should reimburse some part of this package. That's also true. Then probably 10% of the companies who are actually relocating talent. We are not talking about the remote work. We're talking about the relocating talent. So they say, okay, just here is the working contract. Please come to our country and start working like in 2 months. This type of employers are also exist, but I can't say that this strategy is really like scalable. So you might find some 1 or 2, 3 candidates who are really super motivated to move abroad, who are ready to spend their own costs for moving. But if you want to build the scalable recruitment structure and hiring process to get this talent, I strongly believe that like the relocation support should be equally to free coffee, free lunch, and all these perks.
And yeah, I completely agree with you that it's something that we're seeing more and more is as technology makes relocation much more financially viable, and also sort of more more free and more flexible to individual needs. It's no longer a sort of relocation is no longer restricted just to your C-level people. It can now become a perk that can become part of a sort of very normal sort of employees, so sort of standard employee level rather than senior employee levels package, which is really cool and something that we really engage with a lot of people on. It's something you see in the likes of Impala and some of the major tech firms. They really are growing that side of the business, and it, once again, is you're right, it's a massive attractor. The same way that a Google office is a really cool place, a relocation package is a really good one for a remote or a sort of an international workforce.
We did some research that, like, for example, when you consider like even join like a fan companies like Facebook, Amazon, they have really luxurious like relocation package that they offer to their future employees. Then I see the follow-up question, also really good one about the lump sum. In terms of like the relocation package, I would say I see this type of interaction when you offer really kind of like a sign-up bonus or lump sum for the relocation. That's definitely, I see this trend and this switch in the tech world. But anyway, I would say still we have a lot of feedback from our candidates that still, even having the lump sum, the personal touch, the personal support, answering like really stupid questions from the candidates that might ask that you can even Google them.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason of asking these questions, because the level of wariness and uncertainty is so high. So like experienced candidates with 25 years of experience, they might ask really stupid questions about relocation. And then if you as an employer, you can handle these questions like really like, okay, sure, we're happy to support you, or we can connect you with another expat from your country who moved to us 2 years ago, and we can share the contact. So any type of human interaction is still is gold when you talk about the relocation support. But I would definitely see the real lump sum is something that comes more and more as a part of the relocation package.
Yeah, completely. I think lump sum definitely doesn't mean that you can't have a smaller level of relocation support, and that personal touch is massive.
True.
If what would your advice be to an individual hoping to go and find a job overseas?
That's a good one. Actually, be prepared to have to apply for 100 jobs and have 0 replies. That's kind of something that you should expect and mentally be ready for. because most likely you might apply not for the right company who is not ready to support you. That's why actually the goal of Relocate Me was just to combine the place of verified employers who will support you during the move. The second thing I see is actually the resumes. Then it's because in different part of the world you see different standard of the resumes, and not saying about, for example, even the picture, because in some countries having the picture, your photo on the resume is kind of as a must-have, so it's kind of the really standard. And then, for example, if you're talking about applying for a tech job with your photo in the US, yeah, it might be another like topic of discussion for another like 30 minutes, you know. So take into account that if you see for the candidates, I guess still they need to have kind of really international type of the resume. So they should, I would highly recommend not to stick to your local standard resume, and then try to be more international, might try to be more I can't say this like American type of really short, like achievement-based resume, but still something between. Like if you have the 8 pages of the resume, yeah, then definitely something should be reworked, and then you probably should cut it to like 1, 2, 3 pages maximum. Yeah, straight to the point. Considering that recruiters spent like 5-10 seconds on reading your resume, you should really highlight why you're a good fit for this role. Also, like cover letter is something that could really break the ice and warm the ice if you just really apply from overseas, and then in this kind of cover letter you can really explain why you're a good fit for this role. And probably the last but not least, that you should also try all different strategies that work for finding a job. It doesn't mean you should straight away go to the career page and apply. You can use referrals. You can straight away contact CTO of this company on LinkedIn and discuss some technical topics about your programming language that's used in this company, and then just contact. You can visit meetups, online meetups with the employees of this company. So it says like every strategy works. You shouldn't just apply on Indeed. Like try everything that works. Networking, like LinkedIn, meetups, hackathons. So everything that could give you visibility, yeah, go for it.
Brilliant. Awesome. And that leads really nicely onto this question from Brent again. So, how will corporate HR teams evaluate candidates if this pool of potential applicants explodes? So, you could literally be looking at talent from all over the world, some very different types of CVs, very different culture. How do you try and become, I guess, how do you become aware enough to be able to really evaluate people in a fair and equal manner?
Yeah, brilliant question. Love it. Yeah, Brent, really, thank you so much for this question. Also, I don't have like the straight answer. I would say definitely once you say that we are open for applicants from around the world, you receive you significantly increase the number of applicants that you'll receive. So then you'll be ready how to proceed with these applicants. And then I would say in this case, like having this, it starts with with your career page and the questions that you ask. For example, if you know that you'll have like thousands of applicants, even in tech, and that's possible, then you might some extra questions that you might ask to see if the person is really motivated to work at your company, or this is just a bulk sending of resumes to 100 other companies. So then you can rework your career page, and then definitely you will your funnel will be not so big because you'll add extra questions. But then by having these extra questions, then you definitely will have more motivated people. The second thing that I see as well is that when it's kind of the volume game, when you receive a lot of applicants, some tech companies prefer to give the test assignment as a coding assignment as the first phase. So it means like if you want to apply for this company, you first need to do some short technical test. And then it also reduces some number of applicants naturally because everybody's busy. But still, if the person is motivated, love the company, have the same technical stack, the mission of the company resonates with your personal feeling, so then still you'll have people who will accomplish this test assignment. And then if it's good. You also like limit the funnel, but also at the end you'll get more motivated people.
Yeah.
What's else? Yeah, that's good one. But I still, yeah, I guess then if you have the volume gain, so try just to to slightly add some extra layers of proof that you're not applying for 100 jobs. So
Brilliant.
that's just in a nutshell.
Yeah. And then another good question from Christina, which is kind of looking at where the market's going, given that this really this relocation
Amazing
job
questions. I love them, guys. Keep going.
yeah,
Really great questions.
so
Amazing.
from Christina, do you think that corporates who are offering relocation will continue to outsource those functions and touch points to relocation management companies, or will they bring some of those functions in-house in order to save money? Because obviously, if their relocation challenges are getting so much bigger, is there going to be more and more in-housing and
Brilliant question. Yeah. Good one as well. I realized. Thank you, Christina, for asking it. I would say it's also like the same. Like it first of all, it really depends on the volume. So I see the companies like Booking.com who build their like internal relocation teams, and other big companies who build this. It's just because it's not only about the costs. It's just because like how you offer the proper onboarding. And as I said, all this human touch is super important. And then you, even before you join this company, you feel the attitude of this employer, like from even before you start working at this company. And this, I guess, also it could be a cost saving, but still it also could be like the way how you want to make the onboarding process exceptional and getting like all your values, all your values of the company. Then I see that the huge trend is that more and more tech companies appear in this field, like also like Perchpeek, one of them, and also a big number of companies. For example, Jobbatical from Estonia, and they turned to be a company who actually digitalized the process of getting work visa. Visa Right from Germany, for example, they also like they give you the full control and full feedback of the process of getting the work visa on your mobile phone, for example. So there are a lot of, and the market is definitely growing for tech companies who try to actually change how this old-fashioned and bureaucratic industry works.
Yes.
So that also means that probably using this technology, you might accelerate the process of getting like work visa. You might improve the candidate experience as well. So that's really tricky question. It really depends on your goals, but I would probably go. It really depends if you are having like small number of hires from the abroad. Yeah, probably you can use relocation management companies. Why not? They know the business. They did a lot of 100 cases before. They know all the tricky cases that might appear during the process. If you really care about the exceptional onboarding and you have really huge volume of candidates, yeah, that's probably a good sign to start working with and building internal team. But also you should have a look at the tech companies who are entering this market, and then also try to add extra value, both employers and the candidate side as well.
Yeah, completely agree. It's a real pick and choose case of pick and choose, and yeah, the end goal is a really smooth, happy, stress-free relocation for those candidates, because it's those first few weeks of care even before they land is some of the most influential in whether they how strongly they feel towards the company that they're joining. So yeah, fantastic answer. So kind of on that, a lot of major companies already have their global mobility teams in place. Would you say that sort of if you were recruiting someone from abroad, could you quickly outline the kind of the steps that you'd need to be going through if you're a smaller company that doesn't have a global mobility strategy already, that they need to be taking sort of kind of bullet pointed to go from A0 foreign workers to sort of Z a full team, or a full recruitment strategy from abroad?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, definitely you need to go to check if you have some or either limitation or licensing process to actually hire people from abroad. So you might have to have a special license, for example, like in the Netherlands or other countries, where you need first to apply for license for your company to hire foreign talent, and then you are only allowed to for this candidates to become a part of your company and be employed on your side.
Sure.
The second topic is just realize what is the biggest pain points during the relocation process, specifically in your country, in your city, in your location, because it might be the really long and complicated visa process, or as I see it, really might be the challenging to find an apartment in some specific places. For example, like in Berlin, when you might have like 50 people who visit the same apartment in the same day, and then how you can be sure that you are like in the first top 10, the landlord will choose to stay in this apartment. So in this case, yeah, know the biggest pain points, and then like try to offer the support that's really hard for the candidates to do it on their own. That's for sure. Um, and then, as I said, try probably if you have some expats in your team so far, try to connect them to share the experience. Probably have some guides what to do, like how to get resident permit, how to get some tax benefits for your family, how to get the medical insurance, etc., etc. So you can just have some small guides, internal like wiki, where you can share with these candidates. You can also ask your existing employees what was the biggest pain during the relocation, and then just focus on these topics, and then try to support especially uh, these steps.
There you go. Yeah. What exactly is it that Relocate.me support with? If you want to just outline that for the
Yeah,
listeners.
our goal is like we don't do any kind of relocation support. So our goal is just to put in one place, kind of one-stop shop for the candidates to find verified employers who are ready to support your move. So we're not convincing companies to start relocating. So we're already working with the companies that need international talent. What we can do for relocation companies, we also have a specific page that calls relocation companies. We advertise the relocation businesses because we have a lot of expats, we have a lot of job seekers who want to move abroad, so we can put their brand in front of international
Mhm.
job seekers. In the future, they will be expats, so they might use their service. So we can also advertise and kind of give them extra leads and extra clients. But in a nutshell, yeah, we work mainly with the companies who are ready and know how to support the work visa, and we in a transparent way present to the candidates what's the relocation package they will have before applying to this job.
Brilliant. Yeah. Just in terms of those companies, who do you see perhaps most utilizing the talent pool that you're bringing to them? Is there a specific region? Is there a specific type of company that is sort of most embracing the international talent opportunity?
Uh, I would say, as I said before, like the biggest success that I see so far, the companies who are ready to hire people from everywhere don't have any concerns about hiring people from specific countries. So if they're open for talent, they'll be super successful. Yeah, the second thing like is we usually we ask techies what are like the most desired locations for them to move, and we see like year to year the situation slightly changed because it might be some change in the work visa situation in this country, it might be some economical situation in this country. So based on the surveys that we recently did, the top three countries were as I said, I can't say technical talent want to move. Our users want to move. We have probably around 90,000 registered users so far. So we ask them. So then it's Canada, Germany, and the Netherlands. So these are top three countries where the users of Relocate Me would prefer to move. We have really interesting situation with Japan
Mm-hmm.
because as I said, we have really big presence right now in Japan, and this country is naturally like kind of the child dream to move to Japan for a few years at least to be there because it's something new, it's really interesting, it's a completely other culture, etc. And all this type of countries, they're not so trivial. They also might be interesting for the game. It's not like for the relocation for like 20 years, but kind of like exploring, so they might be interested to go some southern countries or not so popular countries, just because it's really cool and new life experience, not because just they expect to spend the rest of their life in this country. So yeah, it really depends.
Nice, got you. And this you've already given a very strong answer to this in terms of being unbiased in terms of location. Is there any other advice you would give to companies who are, if you could look at your partners and you had one piece of advice to them beyond being sort of just not being too biased, could you get, what would that piece of advice be to those companies in terms of having more success?
Yeah, I guess the first thing is just to build the clear, transparent, and really straightforward interviewing process, remote interviewing process. As I said, like right now, you can't invite all the people to your office for the final interview. So it means you should have the really right interviewing process on all stages. So you should evaluate if it's the right person, if just you see this person only like on your laptop in the Zoom screen. So you should do all the right steps to have this feeling, okay, this is the right person, even though it's the candidate is based like, I don't know, like 5,000 kilometers from your side. You had a few phone calls or Zoom calls, so you need to figure out if it's the right person for your organization. Also, it's quite important the speed of response, because we see that like that some employers might be a bit slow in responses, especially
Sure.
with the candidates from abroad, because they say, okay, if they're not in our country, most likely they could wait, so we can take a few weeks to give a feedback to the overseas candidates. And that's not, I guess, the right approach, because still, like, if you're headhunt for the international talent, it means like you also compete country-wise. So if you're looking for Python developers with the relocation to the UK, the same companies from Hong Kong or Australia or Canada might interact with these candidates as well. So it means you also have kind of really healthy country-wise competition. So, and then if you respond like in 2 or 3 weeks to these candidates, then I don't know, why not like Google from Singapore might contact this candidate and offer a really nice job if they're open to going abroad. So they might also consider a few countries, not only your country. So in this case, also the speed of response is really important. So you shouldn't treat overseas candidates like, okay, they could wait. They shouldn't, and they won't wait, I would say.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely agree.
yeah,
There's more.
and then also, like, if it's kind of, we're all in the candidate driven market at the moment, especially in tech, so the candidates choose the companies where they want to work. So also try to show the benefits of working of your company even on their interview stage. Try to sell and present the best of your company, your mission, why you're looking for exceptional talent. So if you have really high bar of hiring, so definitely also try to make the hiring process also like exceptional,
Yeah,
and offering the really good experience even during the interview.
brilliant. And going off the back of that, kind of when you actually get the talent in, and that person arrives in the UK or whichever country they're based in, do you have any advice for how best to help this new employee actually enjoy themselves and integrate once they've landed in that home country?
Yeah, it's a good question in terms of like, do you actually, as an employer, do you have the responsibility of the integration of the
Yeah.
person? I would say, like, do as an employer, like, please do your best to help people integrate, but also, on my personal opinion, it's also like it's personal responsibility of this person to be well integrated in a new country as well. So you as an employer, you definitely not should, but you could create the environment where you, for example, offer the language courses. You share some, I don't know, things that are not written on the paper, but for example, something like about this country, how people interact, how to best deal with the people, etc. For sure, I saw companies that do some, but it was before the pandemic. They do some Fridays of the local cuisine in their office. So, for
Oh,
example, today it will be for example, Brazilian food. The next day it will be the Japanese food, and then the employees from this country bring their own food, cook for everyone. They bring families, even they bring kids to the office, so they share it, etc. You definitely should do it. But as I said, also, like, it's still the personal responsibility of the person, of the family. Just it's their choice, to start integrating, not start integrating. So yeah, it's and you as an employer, yeah, you can create some field for this, but still, my personal preference is that the biggest success will be if the person understands why they need to integrate, and they they work to and to do their best to integrate in a new country.
Awesome, clear. And taking a step back now to sort of, we look at the crazy 18 months we've had, and where Relocate.me was before, and where the global workplace was back in 2019, early 2020. What do you think is going to be the biggest changes over the next 5-10 years? Where do you see the future workplace going? Do you see any massive changes, or do you think this is it now in terms of where we're going to stay?
As I said, I would say that each direction will be more progressive in a way. So if it's we're talking about the remote work, still the biggest challenge for a lot of employers is, for example, how can I employ the person that's not in the same tax zone, and they don't have the social security number of my country. So how can I pay salary to a candidate who is like overseas, to be sure that everything is legal, they have the same like holidays, they have the same, so they're actually they're employed on our country rules. And then we have also see the change in this market. There are a lot of new companies like Deal or whatever appear to make it easier. So I can't say like the world will change from upside down in terms of tech recruitment. I would say that each direction will be more progressive and will adjust to the reality. And then, as I said, right now, probably the hybrid model of having the remote work while you wait for the work visa and then the person lands is probably like the pandemic actually accelerated and showed this is really the really good way. So I don't think like something dramatically changed, but more interesting solutions will appear on the market, more effective ways will appear in the market, and then what I would really expect that probably governments will be more loyal to the foreigners, as well as their goal actually to protect their own citizens. That's for sure, but also to find the right balance on how to being protective and being supporting to their own citizens. On the other hand, is just to also be open for foreigners, also to change the connotation of the migration in general. So that's I would definitely would like to see in the next like 5 or 10 years.
Very cool. And then step right back just to yourself as a successful CEO and tech entrepreneur. What piece of advice, if you have one, would you give to someone else sort of setting off on their own entrepreneurial journey?
I would say just try to solve the problems of your users, clients, or partners if it's your like business goal. So I guess just my personal statement is just try to offer the best experience for your users, clients, partners that you can, and then understand what the biggest pain point in this specific niche or in this specific direction, and then try to solve it either like in a new way or just try to be more effective. And then at the end you will succeed because you make people lives easier, you make business operations more effective. So if you can improve something and if you could do it on scale, let's go ahead.
Andrew, thank you so much. It has been such an interesting talk. I've actually learned so much about international strategy and bringing people over and team management and talent recruitment and leadership. So thank you so much for your time. Everyone else, I hope you really enjoyed it. Hope to see you again sometime soon for another one. But for now, have a lovely day. And Andrew, again, thank you, mate.
Yeah, Harry, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate the questions, guys. Really smart, good questions. Really love them all. Yeah, thanks so much for your time.